Hey guys, the clip you're about to watch was filmed by one of our tutors here at TBT, so I hope it helps you enjoy.
Let's go through the cell parts and their respective functions. Okay, we will start with structure A. Now, what is the name for structure A? It is the cell surface membrane or the plasma membrane. Okay, now let's go on to some of the features or the functions of the structures. Okay, firstly, the plasma membrane is partially permeable. Next, it also controls movement of substances in and out of the cell. Okay, so what does that mean? You can think of the plasma membrane as like the airport. So when you first come from overseas back into Singapore, you have to go to the customs, right? And that's where you get your passport chopped. Okay, so you can think about your plasma membrane as like the customs. It regulates what substances can come into the cell. It regulates what substances can leave the cell to make sure that whatever is coming in, whatever is coming out is legit and it is accounted for. Okay, moving on to structure B. So what is this small red dot over here? A hint, its function is protein synthesis. So if you wrote ribosome, it will be accepted as well. But to be more specific, this is the free ribosome. Okay, so free because it is just floating around in the cytoplasm. Okay, and free ribosomes, their function is protein synthesis for use within the cell. Okay, so whatever they produce will be used within the cell itself. And the ribosomes, they perform a process that is very important for the protein synthesis. We've learned the name of this process in molecular genetics. It starts with a T, and it is translation. Now, moving on to structure C. So what is the big purple circle in the middle of the cell? It is the nucleus. So the nucleus contains genetic material in the form of DNA. Okay, so it also performs a very important process that we also learn in molecular genetics. It is transcription. Okay, so transcription is when the nucleus uses DNA as a template to produce mRNA. Now, the most important function of the nucleus is that it controls cell activities. Okay, how does it control the activities of the cell? Think about it. The nucleus is the one that determines what DNA is transcribed into mRNA. Okay, the mRNA then moves over into the cytoplasm. It moves over to the ribosome where it is synthesized into a protein. Okay, and then the corresponding protein can bring about different changes to the cell. So in a sense, the nucleus is like the government of the city. So it sends out the different instructions on what kind of proteins to produce, how the cell will function. Okay, moving on to structure D. Structure D is the rough endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, and you can see in the image, it looks very clearly studded with something, right? It is studded with the little red dots that are the ribosomes. Okay, so similar to the function that we talked about just now, the ribosomes synthesize proteins, but in the RER, it is for secretion outside the cell. So you can think about your RER as like the big factory that manufactures a lot of proteins for exports out of the cell. But the free ribosomes are the small local shops that produces proteins that are just for use within the cell.
Hey guys, today's sponsor of the video is me. As of making this video, ThatBioTutor is Singapore's only O-level pure bio specialist. You mean you don't teach any other subjects or syllabus? Yup. That's how we've been able to make so much resources just for your syllabus. Example, concise notes without all the extra fluff. Commonly asked questions that come out under every topic, so you know the exact keywords and phrases to score full marks. Didn't pay attention in class? Crash course clips to the rescue. We've recorded explanations for every concept under every chapter. Find bio a chore to memorize. Flashcards on your phone, which makes it feel like a game. So if you need help with O-level pure bio, what are you waiting for? Click the link below this video or go to thatbiotutor.com. Now back to the video.
Okay, with that, let's move on to structure E. Structure E is similar to structure D, but it is not studded with ribosomes. So it is the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, so our smooth endoplasmic reticulum, it also synthesizes products, substances for the cell, but not proteins. Okay, it synthesizes number 1, fats, and number 2, steroids. Okay, so what are steroids? They are just another class of hormones. Now, our smooth ER also carries out another very important function, and it starts with a letter D, and this is detoxification. What exactly is detoxification? Basically, in layman terms, it's when the cell converts harmful substances into harmless ones or less harmful ones. Okay, so RER, SER, how do we remember which is which? Like which performs which function? Okay, so let's just think about it as rough endoplasmic reticulum. It synthesizes proteins, right? So what contains proteins? Meat. Okay, so when you bite into a meat patty, it has a very rough texture, right? So that is the RER. Now for the SER, it synthesizes fats. So fats, oils is very smooth, very slippery, right? So that is the smooth ER. Okay, moving on to structure F. What's the name of structure F? And if you said mitochondria, that is where you are wrong. Okay, so when the question points to just one of it, we have to write it in the singular form, which is mitochondrion. Okay, so the plural form is mitochondria. And what is the function of the mitochondria? It is basically the power plant of the cell. It releases energy. Okay, and it is the site of aerobic respiration. Now you may think, so aerobic respiration is in the mitochondria. What about anaerobic respiration? So where does anaerobic respiration happen then in the cell? It happens in structure G, which is the cytoplasm. Okay, so anaerobic respiration happens in the cytoplasm, and the cytoplasm is also where most cell activities occur. So you can think of your cytoplasm as just like the land in Singapore. So that's where everything happens. Okay, and the land is also where all of the buildings, all of the estates are located. So it contains the organelles in the cell as well. Now let's move on to structure H. So structure H is the green thing over here. What is the name of it? It is the Golgi body or the Golgi apparatus. So what is the function of the Golgi body? Now, the RER and the SER, they are the factories of the cell, right? They produce all these substances, which are then sent to the Golgi body. The Golgi body then packages them into these vesicles. So when we're talking about the functions of the Golgi body, there are three very important keywords that we need to remember. These three keywords are modifies, sorts, and packages. Okay, so you can think of the Golgi body as like the post office in the country. So it receives mail from everywhere. When it reaches the post office, you know, some of it maybe you have to stamp it, so you modify it, you have to sort it. Maybe this all these mail goes to the north of Singapore. All of this mail goes to the south of Singapore. And they will also package it. So for example, there's this household that orders a lot of stuff. So instead of giving them individually, they'll all package it together into one big package. Okay, so it modifies, sorts, and packages substances into vesicles. Okay, and the fate of these vesicles is either they are secreted outside of the cell, or alternatively, it is to other parts of the cell. So what I was talking about, the three very important keywords, modify, sort, and packages. How are you gonna remember them? Okay, we can think of how when the Golgi body receives so much mail, it'll be very happy. And it will say, Majula Singapura. Okay, so MSP, modify, sort, packages. Now, moving on to the last structure, structure I. So what are these blue circle-looking things in the cell? It is the vacuole. And what's the function of the vacuole? You can just think of it as like the warehouse. Okay, so it stores food and water. Okay, and with that, we are done labeling our cell.
Hey guys, if that was helpful for you, then subscribe to our channel. If you'd like to join our O-level pure bio tuition classes, click the link below or go to thatbiotutor.com.